Welcome to episode 38 of an Earful podcast. On this episode, we have Matthew Leone of MADINA Lake.
How awesome is that?
It's cool.
Pretty good, isn't it?
It's pretty cool.
We talk all about MADINA Lake, the upcoming EP, the new singles they released, the previous 3 albums, the concept behind all them 3 albums that we never knew about up until the past few weeks. He talks all about that. We talk horror, we talk music, we talk live shows, we talk Wigan.
That's not an appealing thing, but
Not good.
It might be to a few people, so we're rolling with it.
And if you didn't know, this is episode 38, which means we've got a back catalogue full of good guests. Definitely worth a listen. I'm not going to name them. You can go look for yourself. And you can find us on socials at an Earful podcast. And if you're feeling generous, you can review and rate the podcast. Other than that, enjoy this episode.
Enjoy.
And there we go.
There we go.
Boom.
So, how have you been anyway? What have you been up to recently?
Not a whole lot. Well, you know, it's funny. Actually, that's totally exactly the opposite of what's true. We've been writing like crazy. And thank God for this technology, because Mateo's in Colombia. We're in the United States. I'll leave it there. And Chris, our drummer, is in Nashville. So
Crazy.
we just, yeah. But it's like, you know, everyone's got the COVID inspiration / boredom, hysteria, you know. So we've been writing, and like the songs from this EP have been in development for 2 years. And Nathan and Mateo lived out there. And so I would fly in. They were writing for other artists. And then I would fly in for MADINA sessions. And they just started developing over time. And we have like this really high, we have, you know, the sort of 10 band commandments, you know, and among them are, we should be in our favorite band. So the second that we're writing music or releasing music that's not our favorite, we're violating that tenet. So we have high internal standards for ourselves.
Yeah.
And as the songs were like at their genesis, it was like, okay, that's a pretty cool riff, you know. It needs a lot of this, or that's, you know, they had some cool parts, but they didn't pass that threshold until probably the COVID kicked in.
Yeah.
And then it was like they came together, and we call it, you know, every song must pass the holy shit test and like have as many holy shit moments in the song as, you know, as you can. So yeah, we've been busy writing that. We finished the EP and we've been releasing the singles, and now we're gonna do another EP actually already, because it's just coming out.
Why not?
And then sorry, go ahead.
I said, why not? You've got the time there, aren't you? With COVID's happening,
Yeah.
So you know, you might as well take advantage of that time.
And you know, I find, I don't know about you guys, but that there are so many adages that everybody's throwing out there about how to be positive and perspective in this time, and you know, all these tips and all that. But let's just be blunt. It's a nightmare, right? I mean, who would have thought in the beginning of March everything was flying? Like, we were set up for festivals. We had headliners set up, and then in a matter of a week, all of our business came crashing down. All the bands came crashing down. So to fill this time that's difficult, you find what you love to do the most. And it was so great, like, to reconnect with that passion, you know? of just writing and playing music. It's like there's nothing like it in the world.
I think with one thing you realise how much we take it for granted, like gigging, watching
Yes.
live shows, and just that whole thing. Because myself, I live for going, seeing live shows, and now like living
Yeah,
without
me
that,
too.
it's weird. I know in the UK now they started bringing things in place where they did the first gig, where everybody's barriered off into different sections, and like that's cool that they've started bringing that like back in, but you'll never get the feeling of just being in a room full of sweaty people and just going for
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
You're totally right. I mean, it's gotten so. My wife and I are the same. I mean, we've just been desperate for it, and we went to a drive-in the other night, and they were playing
Greece.
and
Nice.
Yeah.
and I swear to God, I mean, we were pulling out of that place just like you would as a kid pulling out of a concert, like singing the songs. So I mean, it does show you, man, like when you're deprived of the things that you enjoy, it really, I guess, lowers the standards.
I think it's the itch, isn't it? I think it's the whole fact of that. If like it's with us, like with rehearsals, even just like rehearsing songs, writing in person, not having that. So when you're actually on the Zoom chat and you're sort of trying to demo over video chat and stuff like that, it's just like, fuck it, this'll do.
Yeah.
It's fine. We'll get through
Yeah,
it.
totally. Yeah, that's totally true. And then, of course, everyone then goes to bed and they stew over it, like the one part that they didn't get their way. And you wake up to the message like, no, we're doing it over.
And then it's the whole thing of that. So yeah, we should just redo this when we get in person. Like, yeah, we should just redo everything again.
Yeah, exactly. Just throw that whole thing away.
No, absolutely. Now, main thing is we want to like get started talking about is obviously you guys are back with new music, as you've mentioned. You got an EP coming out in September. So what's the process been like writing the new stuff? Is it different from how it was when you, obviously the past few albums, writing that sort of material? Did it have like a different feel because you was older? Just talk us through that process.
Okay, so when we first got together, we bonded over the misery that is being in a local band, trying to get signed. Now this is going back when there were actual like record deals, and so Mateo and Dan, the G Wizbot, is what I call him. They were in a band called Reforma, and they were showcasing for Virgin Records. And I remember Nathan and I were like, pardon my French, but if they get signed, we're fucked. So we went to the show, and we met the A&R, and it was like, man, should we try to sabotage it somehow? Because we wanted those two guys, they were like our best friends, and like musically, just Dan was my favorite drummers in the world, and Mateo same with guitarists and style, and they were exactly what we wanted. Thankfully, fate intervened, and so they were running backup tracks. So they had a fake keyboard player, right? We call him the Magic Jukebox. So the guys up there like just rocking out and getting way, too into it. And the sound guy identified that he wasn't plugged in. And so he goes running up on stage, and he's like busting with cables, trying to find a DI, and the keyboard player's like, get out of here. I'm like, shove off. He's like, I'm faking it. I'm all right. So later that night, we were lamenting. It's what they were lamenting, because like clearly it was a pass. And that summer we'd spent almost every night. We had like this open door policy at our place, and we had like a rooftop balcony overlooking Chicago. It was really cool. We spent most of our nights there. And we decided to form a band. that night and started writing, and that was really an organic, special feeling. So, of course, I took you down the scenic route to answer your question.
Nothing wrong with that.
Okay, good. So from them was the result of those sessions, because even though we produced it with Mark Trombino, he was largely absent from the process for personal reasons. I mean, he's a phenomenal guy and producer, but he's going through some personal things, as we all do. So what we did in our rehearsal spot is really what turned into From Them, you know. The second one, we went with David Bendith, who's like an A-list producer guy. And we butted heads from day one. Like, I mean, on 5 different occasions, he locked us out of the studio. He said, sessions are frozen, you know, and then the managers would have to, and lawyers would have to duke it out. And we're sitting there in New Jersey, like, can we go back yet? So that was a very laborious record. And it's because a lot of bands, let's say they allow other people to write their music.
Yeah.
And Medina Lake that's another one of our commandments. That wasn't going to happen. And Bendith is like, you know, do you understand the industry? You know, start giving us this lecture on that. And we were just unrelenting. So, but it was a very different process, and we didn't like it. So after that, with World War III, we went back to just doing it ourselves. At this point, Matteo had become a bona fide, extraordinary engineer and producer. So, you know, he's a whiz with all of the gear. And so the process has been the same ever since then, and it's more like the From Them process. So it's great. It's a very internal thing. We don't let any external forces impact anything, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a good thing to have, that you can
You
just
know
go
what?
anytime you need to get something down. This is the space to go do it. There's no booking, nothing involved.
And there's a certain sense of liberty in, you know, when you're on a label, they're always going to want the single, right?
Yeah.
And it's so nice to not have that pressure. Like, to be at a phase in our lives, in our career, where it's just write our favorite music that moves us, and, you know, that we can be proud of, that we left here on earth beyond our existence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how has that changed from, obviously, you writing the first couple of records to now, and obviously with this barrier that is the lockdown, has that changed your whole approach, or is it very much still similar and no one else involved internal thing?
It's made it more, so it's weird, it almost sounds antiquated now, but we would be in a rehearsal spot and playing through, say, you know, like a verse and like an intro verse into a chorus. And then someone would give the sign and be like, why don't we try X, Y, or Z? And that's 4 people constantly. It's a difficult task. It seems pretty arduous when you consider it that way. It seems to be more efficient now, because Matteo will send, you know, he does the lion's share of, you know, he'll send us the framework, like he'll send us the riffs, and, you know, some programming on it. Nathan will start working on lyrics, and then I'll get in and be like, okay, this part kicks ass. Bring this to the forefront, or make this the verse, and then reintroduce it after the second chorus. You know, so I guess the arrangement type things, and then like we have a couple of new songs that are it's really cool. We're really just getting out there. One song on the EP called Tiny Weapons is mine and Mateo's favorite song ever that we've ever written. And it's 8 minutes long.
Nice.
It's just a journey, you know? And yeah, I love it. So anyways, to answer your question, it's made the process somewhat easier because he'll send the rough parts, and then, you know, we'll assemble them. Nathan has always just gone off and done his vocals. Mateo's very involved in that process as well. But it's just more efficient, and it's nice because you have your time to consume it and then write notes, send them back, and then you can mock it up and send it back to you and see if it works. Yeah.
It's like everyone's working individually on a collective rather than, okay, we need to organize all getting in this room together.
Exactly right. Yeah.
It's efficiency, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because like we'll know like, okay, what this needs is a new beat. So send this over to Chris and see what he comes up with, and then that'll affect the whole thing. You know, it's great. I've been loving it.
It's great to hear. Yeah, I think it's the whole thing of that, knowing that when you're releasing new music or when you're actually something's coming together, there's just that excitement, that sort of endorphin thing of like going, oh, totally. This sounds good.
Yeah, like when
you
we
just
got
want to
this
like
one.
release it and be like, have new music. It's like, oh, I have to wait. I have to think of a logical plan to release this. To
I know. I hate that part. You're totally right. You just want to call like a world timeout and just be like, everybody stop, listen. We did this slow.
That's kind of what's happened now, though. Everyone is on timeout.
I know.
Were you supposed to be touring? I know you said you were rearranging gigs and festivals and stuff.
We had a festival booked in the UK, and then we were going to come back to the States and do 3 weeks and then come back and do a full UK tour. So that's still the plan for whenever this gets unlocked.
Yeah.
In the interim, because of how I felt after leaving Greece, not the country, the drive-in.
Oh, okay.
I know. I started exploring the streaming thing. I thought like virtual was all exciting for a minute, and then I guess it went to streaming.
Yeah.
And I'm friends with Kevin Lyman from Warped Tour, and Frank Zumo, the drummer, for Sum 41, and they put me in touch with somebody in Los Angeles who's done the first streaming show, like from a live venue. They did Death by Stereo, and it was incredible. So then I talked to Benji from Good Charlotte, and they started a ticketing platform called Veeps.com. And it's like artist friendly, everything they do is, which is why I love those guys. So we are going to book a Veeps tour. So we'll do like 4 shows. One we'll play the new EP, and then, 5 or 6 old songs. And then one will be Medina Lake's favorite songs, and the one will be band's pick.
Oh,
that's
I
cool.
Like that idea.
Yeah.
So, that's really cool.
Yeah. So hopefully something we can do until we can get the confetti cannons out again.
I feel like going back to when you're saying you're doing the UK tour, I feel like you've always had a massive presence over in the UK. Like, considering you guys are based in like the US, I've always felt like you guys have always been at the forefront of that sort of scene.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been our home away from home.
Yeah.
That was like the first. When we think of band moves, we always think of that market first, you know, like, okay,
Yeah.
like, what are we going to do? Should we just do one London show, one Manchester show, or should we do see how it sells? You never know. People
Yeah.
care anymore,
Yeah.
you know? But yeah, my wife is British. I met her in Manchester. She ran all the stuff. Remember the pulp stores?
Oh yeah, pulp, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so she basically grew that store into the ultimately 13 or 19 or something that it became. And we did a few signings there, and that's where I met her.
I missed that store. That went quite a while back, but yeah, that was our go-to every time we went into the city.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
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 Where are you guys living?
We're based in
Pretty
Manchester
much
as
near
well.
Manchester, yeah.
Oh, are you?
I
Yeah.
thought that was the reason you agreed to talk to us.
Yeah.
Under those pretenses.
No way. Where do you guys live?
So we're based in a place called Wigan.
Yeah, it's the suburbs.
Outside of Manchester. Have you heard of Wigan?
Oh yeah, of course.
You've heard of Wigan?
I've been living. I was living there the last 5 years. I've been living in Manchester.
I'll say. Have you ever been to Wigan?
I have.
You've been
Oh,
to
I'm
Wigan?
so
That's
sorry to
crazy.
hear that.
What?
Yeah.
Have you tried a pie or a pasty from Wigan? This is going off topic, by the way. This is.
Yeah.
I'm so curious.
I think I just went there for a dentist appointment or something. I don't know what. Yeah, it is weird. I don't know how that wound up being the case that I'd be in Wigan to see a dentist, but
That's insane.
Small world.
yeah, man. We lived in West Didsbury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we moved a little. Once we had our funky little man, we got a joint just outside in Sale.
Right.
That's
So
cool.
That's cool.
now we split time between here and there.
That's awesome. So so rewinding now, going back to when you first kicked off the band, what was the music scene like? Like where you was based?
So in Chicago,
Yeah.
it was a very remember emo sort of broke out of the new metal
Yeah.
cast. So all that was we were all right. Our first band was a new metal band. I can't deny that anymore. And so it was a real nice scene there. I mean, our hometown venue is called the Metro, and it's a 1,200 cap theater. It's just beautiful. It's like internationally renowned. So that was like our home venue, and there was about 8 to 10 local bands, and we would always do shows there and sell them out. I mean, it was such a great scene. And then when that became uncool, when Fall Out Boy went on tour with the Used, I remember that was like, okay, this shit's over, and that's when we formed Medina Lake. I think because we broke up two bands really to do it, to form Medina Lake. That there was a little bit of resentment, maybe, but after so much time, nobody, everyone, you sort of get over that shit, and it's like a big family. So we're actually gonna, Vic and I are gonna go to Chicago next week for a month, and I love that city. The scene wasn't so embracing to us, so it's not like it's interesting. It's not one of our stronger markets, but we love it. It's our home city,
That's cool. Like, because where we are at the moment, like the music scene is struggling, like quite a bit, as it is like everywhere. Yeah, we've recently had, what is it now? Is it the kind of like silent protests where we've had people walking down the streets. There was a whole going for miles with flight cases because the venues over here really struggling at the moment. We've had a lot of like home venues in Manchester, the ones that are close to like, you know, everyone's hearts really, especially if you're like a band who's only just like starting out and making the way through the ranks as such. So it's quite sad really, but I think we're getting there eventually, but it's one of those, we just got to progress with it. Is that what it's like over there in the States at the moment? Have you got the venues that are struggling to stay open as well?
Totally.
Yeah,
we've lost a couple of just brilliant venues. We lost Double Door. I mean, nobody can do anything, you know. It's like you can't even be in business. But I love it when I heard that about, my wife told me what they were doing in Manchester. It's just so cool, because I mean, we're a very humble band. I mean, we don't distinguish ourselves from our audience or our crew or anyone. You know, we're not like one of those bands who think we're better than anyone, you know. We're not. For one. But crew members are like the most, you know, unsung heroes, you know.
Most, if not all of them, are musicians too anyway.
Yeah,
I know. So like if someone gets injured,
that's it.
Step right in.
How does it feel? Because you've seen the change in the music industry go from thriving to what it is now, and you seem to always have to be able to adapt. How has that been for Madina Lake? And because you seem, just chatting to you, it seems like you have a business head on about the band, which not a lot of people do.
Yeah, I'm that guy in the band for sure.
Which is needed. It's good.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. So I think, okay, well, everything gets politicized these days, which drives me crazy. So I'm not going that way. But you know how for a while now people talk about the deterioration of the middle class. I think we're experiencing that in real life. When you look at Hollywood, and they make two types of movies now. Movies that cost 11 million and under, or 300 million and over. Nothing in between. The music industry was going that way. There was almost no room for indie bands anymore to sustain a career. You had to be signed to a major management firm. You had to have an agent at UTA or APA or one of the big ones. Otherwise, you just can't do it. You can't do it on your own. So I feel like that sort of that mold has really been transposed over every aspect of life. So with what I've always wanted for Madina was to be something, you know, we always used to say to our audience that there would never be a last time you'll see us. And what we meant by that was, whatever happens, whether we're successful, you know, we all wanted to settle down and start families, and quite frankly, it wasn't sustainable to be gone, just to make a living, to be gone all year away from your family and friends.
Yeah, of course.
So what I always make an immediate, intermediate, and long-term plan. And the long-term plan has always been to spend at least 1 month a year on Madina, so we can always have this in our lives. Because I tell you what, like, as much as, you know, it's rewarding and fulfilling doing the charity work and producing shows for, you know, for benefit shows for other organizations, like that's what our business is now. That's great, but there's, you know, once you manage to survive, manage to have a career as an artist doing your dream, it's kind of hard to do anything else.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I feel really lucky that we're able to, that enough people are sticking around to enable us to do that.
Absolutely. I was thinking before, because obviously it was building up to us chatting today, how when me and Matty were in our older bands from many years ago, that we always had like an emergency cover song, as you do when you play in a live show, and you kind of think, "Oh, play through it a bit too quick," and the tempo's gone a bit too much.
We always do.
So ours was always "Here I Stand" by you guys.
No way.
So it was always like for two bands run, and I'm talking, this must be about 4 years worth. Always the emergency cover was "Here I Stand" by Medina Lake.
Go
that's
to.
amazing. That's so flattering. Thank you.
No, it's a pleasure,
That's really
man.
great to hear.
It was just always a coincidence. We're like, we used to cover that. I know we're speaking to you. But no, what I was going to lead into is when you was obviously starting out, did you ever have any like covers that you would do, or was it just originals all the way through?
Okay, so we're, I don't know, I think we're like an amalgamation of Nine Inch Nails, Smashing Pumpkins, all the bands that we grew up adoring, and then like cut into the dynamic of where music is at the time, right? So we would always give a nod to the bands that inspired us. So we covered Nine Inch Nails, March of the Pigs, which is one of my favorites. And then we did this really obscure version of Today from Pumpkins.
That's cool.
Where
cool.
When we do covers, we like to reimagine them. So instead of like trying to play them verbatim, we like to deconstruct their process or what the song is, the structure of it, and then write almost a brand new song just using those progressions and lyrics and melodies. And that's one of my favorites. I think we put it out on like a Kerrang compilation.
Nice.
It's out there. It's a really weird one, but yeah,
I love when
we've done those.
People who do cover songs make it their own and create a new take on it.
I feel like that's how it should go, right? Paying homage to the artist.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
it's a fresh perspective on it.
And a perfect example would be Nine Inch Nails again, what Johnny Cash did with Hurt.
I was just thinking of that. That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Really?
Yeah. It's when I first heard Hurt, I heard the Johnny Cash version and always thought Nine Inch Nails covered it. And not until probably about 3-4 years ago, I was like, I had no idea.
We're way older than you. We were there the first time.
Well, they said that Trent Reznor actually, in a way, gave Johnny Cash that song because after he heard it, it was kind of like, that's better than my version.
I know.
It's crazy. Like the owner of the song is giving you his song.
Totally. Well,
it's crazy.
You hear the original and you're like, shit, that's like the darkest song I've ever heard. And then Johnny Cash makes it totally pitch black dark.
Yeah.
And then have you seen the video he did for it as well?
Oh yeah.
It's brutal. It's
brutal.
Brutal. Yeah.
Great way to describe it.
It is brutal.
It was prophetic, right? Because he died shortly thereafter.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You see how aged he's got and, struggling. It's a hard watch.
And to hear it in the delivery of those vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So it's kind of like if there was like a visual version of a final page of a book. Is that music?
Yeah. That's a great analogy. That's absolutely it.
That's probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah. It speaks to the power of music and how it can have a physical effect on your body, you know?
Yeah.
Like mind, body, and spirit are all intertwined, you know, in some cases all tangled up, disaster like mine. But, you know, when you listen to a song and suddenly everything, all three of those things, mind, body, and spirit, are all resonating, you know, to make like this beautiful chord. That's what it feels like.
I like that.
Absolutely. So you mentioned then Smashing Pumpkins as being like a big influence. Obviously, you've kind of exchanged from time to time in the past. Do you have a certain feel of like imposter syndrome? Because I know, like, from a personal experience, I've had moments of it. Do you get that when you speak to people that you've like idolized, listened to? Do you still get that now?
The imposter in the sense of like we rip you off, or like the sense of idolizing or deifying.
Idolization. Yeah, like shit, it's you. I'm here.
Yeah. You know, I've never had that. However, all right, there's a few people I've idolized throughout my life, right? Tom Waits, Les Claypool from Primus.
Yes, lovely.
Yeah.
Wayne Coyne from Flaming Lips, and Billy Corgan. And I met Wayne when we were doing a show in Japan. I had no idea they were as well at some other venue. And I was walking home from our show in this weird little part of Tokyo. The whole thing is weird, so it doesn't help. But, and I saw the silhouette of Wayne ducking into a noodle shop. And I was like, there's no way, but I might as well. And I'm, Wayne! You know? And he's like, stopped and pulled his head out and looked around. I was like, holy shit, that's him, you know? And I went up there and I said something like, I'm just quite fond of you. That's like all that I could muster up. And he goes, well, I like the way you talk. And so we sat there and chatted for an hour.
That's awesome.
TM came out and took his order, brought his food out because we were still just sitting there on the stoop, you know. And yeah, we've been friends ever since.
Oh man,
so,
that's cool.
Yeah, he's a true eccentric, beautiful man. And then the other one is Billy. So when I got my ass kicked, the ass kicking hurt around the world, Pumpkins did a benefit show for me. So when I woke up from the coma, that was like the second thing Nathan told me. And I was like, all right, I'll survive. I mean, I'm going to have to, now I'm going to stick around and see how this plays out. And he is, so we've become friends. He's difficult. He's an eccentric fellow for sure. Artist through and through, brilliant. Like, you know, those guys who you can't believe they know everything.
Yeah.
He's like that. He's amazing. I got a little intimidated. I get a little intimidated around him.
Yeah. I managed to catch him for the first time. I think it was last year at Download Festival, man, and I've been wanting to see him for so long, and it was crazy. The show that they put on, like, they brought all these like blow up, like, I can't even really explain. It was kind of like a circus behind them, but it was all like these.
Oh, I know.
Massive blow. Oh mate, it was crazy on the main stage as well at Download. It was insane. It was a great experience. I also read. I don't know if you heard about it when he found his guitar that he used on one of the first Pumpkins albums.
Yeah,
they located it. Yeah, they located it, which was crazy. Like, after all that time, like, what are the chances of that?
I know, man. That's so cool. The guitar made its way back home.
Yeah, and he recorded the recent album with that as well, didn't he?
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
Strat.
Part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear that record because Nathan and I were largely there for when he recorded Oceania,
Yeah.
and so we're sitting there trying to be cool. It's not gonna happen, you know. You can't fake it. But he kept playing this riff over and over and over again, and I can't hide my enthusiasm for something. And he finally just stopped like this, and he goes, "You like that one, don't you?" Yeah, I think you should keep that. And he goes, "Why don't you take it?" And he goes, Bjorn's his engineer. He's like, "Give it to him." And Bjorn made a copy of it, burned it to a disc, gave us the riff, and we turned it into Imagineer on World War III.
That's crazy.
What?
Can you imagine? And when we sent it to him, he tweeted about it. He was like really impressed with, what they did with this riff.
Man, that's awesome.
Love that.
That's
amazing.
crazy.
Yeah, so that was a good one. That was a good time in life.
That's unbelievable. So this is one thing I never knew about you guys, but until I read up about it, where there's been a concept to the 3 albums since day one. And obviously it's based around Medina Lake, and it's based on the mystery of a girl, and it spanned 3 albums. I never knew about it up until now, and it blew my mind at the fact that this all happened, and it was all schemed from day one, and it was by you. How does that concept work, and how did that kind of come into place?
Thank you for noticing that. I remember growing up as a music fan, I always wanted to I couldn't get enough of the bands I liked. I would, read everything on the artwork. I looked for, any little hidden messages. I was just obsessed with that. Yeah. So, on the night that those guys blew their showcase for Virgin, Nathan and I were, cheering inside, but the 4 of us were on our rooftop 3 a.m, and I proposed and said, all right, we were so fed up with the music industry, and we're like, okay, because you had to write this hit single or you wouldn't have a shot at it, right? Yeah. And the pressure of writing a hit single, and even just the grossness of having to do that. So we're like, all right, what are, if you could be in any band circumstance, what would it be? What would you want your dream band to be? And we run around. That's where really the sort of 10 commandments of the band, came. Well, I'd want it to be my favorite band and blah, blah, blah. And one of my things was I want to do a concept that's a social commentary that has a grand, a big reveal message, just some, it's a little complicated, but and then tell this story over 3 records, leave clues in the artwork, leave clues in the songs. Literally, when we dropped confetti balloons, we would hide letters in there that would give clues. And then I just made up this fictional story that was loosely woven in and out of Nathan's lyrics, about this microcosm of a town that represented a microcosm of the macro world. And then I was so naive and pretentious to think that we'd be able to even get to 3 records. You know what I mean? But we did it, and then I released a book called Lilo the Divine Game, and that's like that's helped. In fact, hold on 1 second. I stole this from my sister because I don't have any, but like this is it.
Wow.
Cool.
I sold
Awesome.
out of them, and what I did was like I wrote, so like I wrote the story, but then I hate artists who write lyrics that are so obscure that like people think they're geniuses because it makes no sense when they're like they just got it from a road sign. You know what I mean? So in the book, I explain all the like I reveal where all the secrets were, so you can go back and for people following along to track and see if they were on course, you know.
Yeah.
And then I explain what it all means and all that. So
how
I wasn't copping out.
How did the process of putting this all together for yourself feel? And
Nightmare.
it down? I can imagine.
Yeah, I know.
Absolute nightmare. But when we got to World War III, we had a lot of piss and vinegar. Like I was really pissed off, and the whole sort of message, the whole story is basically we are giving advice to a future generation, like a warning to a future generation that if you keep enacting this value system, this will be the consequence. And then it ends in it's all about the mystery of where and who this Adelia character is, and it winds up being you and all of us, right?
I was going to say
just being born.
That.
Yeah, spoiler alert. So then the last paragraph, I think, or last page, it's like I'm cheering this person on as they're giving birth, and then I switch from like first person to third person, where I'm wishing everybody the best of luck. Now you go get them. Have a great Lilo the Divine Game, something like that.
Cool.
I like that.
That's cool.
That was my little self-indulgent moment.
That's crazy. Just the amount of detail and thought that is got into that is just incredible. The fact that he spanned 3 hours.
That's crazy.
Yeah, why 3 if you don't mind me asking?
What's that?
Why 3 albums? It seems like such a strange number to choose.
No, I'm not sure. Here's why. Because I wanted to have the sleeve of like the CDs, when you stack them on top of each other, give away the answer. Dahlia is you. The art director for our second record totally blew it. So when he blows it, what are you gonna do? You ruin the picture.
Reissue.
Yeah, exactly. Japanese import.
Exactly. So we was looking through the Medina archives over the years, and we discovered the appearance on Twin Fear Factor.
Oh, you found that, did you?
We did, yeah.
We did.
This necessitates some explaining. All right, a friend of ours signed us up as a joke. Like, those are the kind of friends we have, and so we double reversed them by when NBC called me. At first I thought they were from the band Fear Factor, And I was like, hell yeah, we'll take the tour, you know. And then they said, yeah, you know, we're trying to experiment with this episode, you know, because, you know, if you've seen the show, we typically have these like models and triathletes, and we thought we'd try something new. I was like, yeah, we're in. So we went out there and we're just gonna make fun of everybody and then get kicked off and go home, you know. And then literally we were up against triathletes. They started talking shit, you know, like they do in reality TV.
Yeah.
It actually pissed us off.
That was the drive.
We became, yeah, man. We're like, oh no, we're so losers. So we gotta win. And so we started trying, and we won, and that enabled us to make our demo, which got us signed. So all is well that ends well.
That's ace. Yeah, man. That's cool.
But I mean, if you watch it, hopefully it's clear we're making fun of it the whole time.
It is, because I remember you calling out the Cowboys that you're heading up against. It was definitely clear.
Yeah, I think at one point, one of us, I think Nathan was talking about how discombobulating one of the sons was. And he was saying, yeah, it makes you start thinking weird things like maybe I'm into Cowboys.
Was there a challenge on Fear Factor that you absolutely hated?
All of them, yeah. They were like living real nightmares. But the one where we had to swim in the trench with dead cow's parts.
Oh, yeah.
Holy smokes. I mean, it was a trench filled with all the insides of a cow. And you had to swim across it on a tandem rope with your, you know, partner. And then eat the meat off of a cow's jawbone on one end. And then climb back over the stupid obstacle and spit it into a meat grinder, grind it up. And once you got a pint of it, they gave us a little head start with fish juice.
Oh no.
God.
So I had to pound it. And we all wound up in the hospital for a week.
I'm not surprised. Who even thinks of that? Like, for starters.
We met this cat. He's this old weirdo, like total weirdo. You could tell he totally gets off on it. You know?
Oh my God.
Just torturing people.
That's insane.
How did that show even get made?
Our episode was why it got canceled. Because we were all from the hospital. Yeah.
Oh God.
It was like, it really is dangerous. I was like,
definitely.
You know, I thought they were faking it.
But no.
No.
That's insane. So did you end up speaking to Joe Rogan much? Or once in a while? Or
it was hilarious. Everybody, of course, is trying to kiss his ass. And except Nathan and I, you know, obviously we barely knew who he was. We knew he was the host, you know. And so he sticks his head in the trailer, and everyone's like, "Oh my God!" Jumps up and, you know, like, "Oh, Joe," you know, and they're asking him questions. And Nathan and I were just sitting in the corner talking, and he goes, "Hey, Leone twins," and we didn't hear him first. He's like, "Hey," and we look up, and he's like, "Come out here." So he invited us out there, and everyone else, of course, was all jealous and pissed off. They're like, "Oh yeah, what's up? Did we do something wrong?" You know, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" Like, I don't know, just it was going to be a joke, but then those Cowboys, like, they kind of pissed us off. And it's like, I mean, I can't believe they even booked you. You know, like, why would they book you? So he was totally cool. We hit it off like crazy.
That's cool.
So I've even like spoken to him. Well, I spoke to his manager last week. But he's just a fantastic guy.
Yeah, I love it.
Matt,
Yeah, Matt's froze.
Oh,
There
we're
is.
back. There we go.
Ain't it? Ain't
It
it?
can't all be perfect, can it?
It's me and my brilliant bro.
I have a call. I guess I am under a little bit of a time situation. I have about 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's not a
Cool,
problem.
that's fine.
If that's cool with you guys.
We do have 2 segments that we always repeat every episode. If you're not a fan of them, it's fine. But we cover horror as well.
I love it. I saw the Halloween poster.
Brilliant. We're gonna say, what's your favorite scary movie?
Oh shit, good one. I used to be into all the slasher films. You know, I've seen all of the Nightmare on Elm Street, the Friday the 13th, and then oh man, maybe The Shining.
Matt.
Say
Yeah,
The
that's
Shining,
Matt's
yeah.
favorite. Yeah,
It's my favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know this is kind of a weird one because history hasn't treated it fairly, but Blair Witch.
Yes, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, it was great. But it's like
It's
sorry,
like
go on.
the guerrilla marketing they did at the time when it was coming out. That's what
Totally.
sells it. And you get, people our age who don't really get that or understand it and just judge it.
Totally.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. You're absolutely right. That's a really good observation to catch that, because at the time, for anyone listening who likely doesn't know, this is right when the internet was happening. Oh, shit. And so when the Blair Witch was doing their marketing for the video, they made it look like a true story. So we went in there thinking, like, oh my
It's
God.
real, yeah.
Yeah, it's real.
You're thinking
of
these
course.
people are actually lost in the woods.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
crazy.
actually stood in
Yeah.
that corner.
Yeah, that was badass. So I'll put that up there.
And then wrapping up, our final question is, what's your pet peeve? What annoys you the most, if anything?
Well, you got me there.
it can be anything. We've had all sorts of things that piss people off, but yeah.
I know. Yeah,
Go for
this is a tough one. I mean,
I know, given the way
it's
things are
congested.
going.
Yeah, exactly. I guess people who take themselves seriously, too seriously.
Yeah.
Wait, it's like live and let live, as long as you're not, obviously, if you're not hurting anybody, if you're not, doing anything bad. Stop judging people.
We're all here for the same reasons. You know what I mean? We've all got to live together at the end of the day. So why doesn't everyone just get on and stop causing bullshit?
You said it, because everything is designed to sow division, and we're all the same at the core. We're all avoiding pain and fear and in search of love and happiness. We all want community. There's hatred is almost propagandized to us.
Yeah.
100%. And I just can't stand that. So yeah, that would be it.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Right. We will let you get your call. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And,
you both look very familiar to me. So let's get together when they unlock the flights and we're back in Manchester.
If you're ever in Wigan, we'll buy you a pie or a pint.
I'll be there.
Yeah, definitely.
I could go for a little once over on my grill. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, very best. I'll see you guys again for sure.
See you soon. Thanks.
See you later.
Man. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed that. That was Matthew Leone on episode 30 fucking 8 of an Earful podcast.
Yep. If you enjoyed that, don't forget to check out the latest singles, Playing with Fire and Love is War, and also the new EP that's coming out on September the 4th, named The Beginning of New Endings.
And instead of telling you that there's loads of other episodes with people you can go listen to and you can leave, rate and review, although I've kind of just told you that. Instead, why not listen to some podcasts that we like? Just a Girl podcast, and go listen to Karma Radio on SoundCloud. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.